It's been said, if you don't want to learn, no one can help you. But if you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. In this video, we're going to talk about how to become a learning machine.
Hey, Sua!
Three things for this series. Number one.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode on how to become a learning machine. If you're watching this, chances are you're trying to find the competitive advantage. You're trying to get better at whatever you do, or you're trying to learn so you can help others become better at what they do as a parent, as a leader, as a coach. Now, learning is so important in order to optimize performance in whatever you do, but some people don't know how to learn. They let their emotions get the best of them. They allow failure to derail their motivation and the progress that they're making. They're comparing themselves to other people. You might be doing some of these things. And so I'm gonna give you 7 principles to take into consideration to help you use learning as a competitive advantage. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and the bell so you know when the next video comes out. And thanks for being part of this community. Principle number 1, love accelerates learning. The person who does something because they love it will outlast the person who does it for the results, for the money, for the status. Because the more you love something, the more you're willing to do it. And the more you do it, the more mistakes you're gonna make. And the more mistakes you're gonna make, the more you're gonna learn. And the more you learn, the more you're gonna love it. And the more you love it, the more you're gonna do. You can see this cycle. Identify why you love what you do. And your love is going to propel you through the difficult times. Steve Jobs has one of my favorite interviews as he talks about loving what you do. He says, because you have to love it. You have to be passionate for what you do because it's so difficult. It's so hard. And the people who don't love what they do are going to give up because it's logical. It's rational to give up when it's difficult. The odds of you succeeding are very slim. And the only thing that's going to propel you is loving what you do. That's why it's so important. Don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the results. Don't do it for the status. Don't do it because you think other people think you should be doing it. Do it for the love of doing it. And that is when you're going to be passionate to learn how to do what you do even better. Principle number 2 is arrogance hinders learning. You can't learn from mistakes if you're too arrogant to think you're not making any. The problem with success sometimes is that when you're successful, you overlook the mistakes you're making. You don't pause to learn from the things that you didn't do well. You're just celebrating your successes. People pat you on the back, they tell you how good you are, you start climbing the ladder, you start having more success, more experience, more expertise, and what that often leads to are more blind spots. But the better you get, people tend to hesitate to give you advice. They hesitate to shine a light on your blind spots. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with people who could be honest with you and to go up to them and say, hey, what are my weaknesses? What are my blind spots? The more expertise you get, the more broad your circle of competence is, the more circumference of blind spots you have, the more limitations you have. Make sure you protect yourself by not being arrogant. Humility breeds learning. Keep asking, keep learning. You're never too sick to get better, and you're never too good to get better either. Principle number 3 is to learn from others. Many times we're threatened by the success of others. We're jealous by the success of others. We look at the success of others and we beat up on ourselves, thinking we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not fast enough, we don't have the opportunities that others have. Rather than beat up on yourself or compare yourself to others or be envious or jealous, learn from them. What are they doing that you're not? How can you apply their framework to what you're doing? How can you attack a problem differently or similarly from other people? That's why it's very important to pause and to study the success of others. And also, make sure you study the failures of others. What can you learn from their failings? What can you learn from their mistakes? You don't have to make your own mistakes. You can accelerate learning by learning from the mistakes of others. Principle number 3 is powerful because lessons are everywhere, not just in your own experiences, but the experiences of others. But don't let your emotions and your jealousy and your envy get in the way of learning from the good and the bad other people are doing. Principle number 4 is to take action. You will learn more from taking action than reading about how to take action. You'll learn more from doing than reading a book on how to do it, watching videos on how to do it, reading tweets on how to do it. Go out and do the work. Oftentimes we fall down this pit, this rabbit hole of productive procrastination, where you're reading books, you're buying courses, you're trying to consume knowledge on how to go do something, but what you're really doing is you're procrastinating of doing the work. You're procrastinating, you're putting off doing what you need to do to be successful. But it feels good because you're reading about it, you're learning about it, you're listening to podcasts, and it feels great. It feels like you're getting better and you're doing the work, but you're not. Go and take action. Go and do that thing that you want to do. Principle number 5 is to look for ways to get better. Every day you should ask yourself, how can I get better? What's my process like? Who can I learn from? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How am I measuring my progress? What's my definition of success right now? How can I learn from failure? Do you see what I'm doing? I'm asking these questions to look for ways to get better. As you look in the mirror and ask yourself these questions, as we've spoken about before, your mind is going to go out and look for answers. Constantly update your information, constantly update your process, constantly update your destination and where you want to go. That's how learning happens. You need that feedback loop. You need to be able to look at your feedback and even see your emotions. Do I love this anymore? Does this energize me? Where is my best energy? Where is my best focus? What time of day? What do I do that sucks the life out of me? What do I do that fuels me? Who are people that support me and I feel inspired being around them? These fountains. Who are the drains in my life? Every time I share with them an idea, they destroy it and it doesn't help me. It's very important to do this assessment as often as you can. You want to shrink the space between action and results. That's why feedback loops are so important. Get that feedback, pay attention, and so you're doing things by design and not by default. Principle number 6 is to learn from everyone and everything. Lessons are everywhere. You can find lessons watching your favorite movies. You can learn lessons from observing at a restaurant, watching the waiter or the waitress. You can learn lessons by sitting and observing at an airport. You can learn lessons from listening to music. Lessons are everywhere. You can learn from success. You can learn from failure. You can learn from designs of how buildings are designed. Pay attention and become a sponge to learn as much as you possibly can. You're going to see, if you wake up in the morning with the mindset to learn, everyone and everything is going to be your teacher. You're going to be more curious as you watch little children explore their world. You're going to be more intrigued when you go to work or you go to church or you go to school and watch how people interact with each other. You are going to be fascinated. A whole new world is going to open up to you as you have the mindset of being a sponge and learning as much as you can. And finally, principle number 7 is to get feedback. When was the last time you went up to someone who you trust, you know that they value you and you respect them? When was the last time you went up to them and you asked them for feedback to give you advice on how to be better? Now, the thing that's interesting about feedback, you want to make sure you pick the right person for the right thing. If you want to get relationship advice, you should go to someone who you feel has a strong relationship. And this is a strong point for them. If you're looking for someone for business advice, you want to go to someone who has a track record of being good at business. If you want someone to help you with design advice, go to a designer, a coach advice. You want to find the person who you respect. No one is a one-stop shop. You're not going to go to the same person for this advice and this advice and this advice. People have different strengths. Now, it's also important to understand that you don't want to go to someone who's always going to tell you the good. There are people out there who will tell you, oh, you're great, you're amazing, you don't need to change a thing. That's not going to help you get better. You want someone who can really see the good you're doing, but also give you suggestions and considerations on how to get better. Okay, so there you have it, the 7 principles on how to become a learning machine. Now, my question to you is, which one of these 7 really resonated with you and why. I would love to hear from you. Please write it down in the comment section. And my invitation to you for this week is to go out and apply one or more of these principles. Become a learning machine, come back, and let us know how it goes. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back with another one next week.